I'm good.
Welcome back, everyone. Let's have a 10-minute update spot from Regen BioPharma Inc. Trades on the OTC Pink sheets under the symbol RGBP and RGBPP. It's focused on the immunology and immunotherapy space. Companies focus on rapidly advancing novel technologies through preclinical and phase 1 and 2 clinical trials. Currently, the company is focused on mRNA and small molecule therapies for treating cancer and autoimmune disorders. Please welcome President and CEO David Koos and Harry Lander, Senior Scientific Consultant. Nice to have you gentlemen back.
Well, thank you, Anna. It's good to be back. We're excited about being able to update everybody. And I think to get started, I'm going to ask Harry some questions about this confirmation study we mentioned the last time we were on. And hopefully we can get a clear understanding of where we sit and what we plan. That being said, Harry, can you talk about the significance of the confirmation study we're performing?
Sure. I mean, if everyone recalls, we designed, this is our DuraCAR program, where we designed a chimeric antigen receptor that had dual functionality. One end of the CAR was designed to bind to cancer cells, and the interior part of the CAR was designed to code for an siRNA, an RNA that would, in theory, inhibit the NR2F6 protein, NR2F6 being one of our major focuses of the company. And the idea here is that by inhibiting NR2F6, you would create CAR T cells that would be hyperactivated and able to kill tumor cells that in a way that normal CAR T cells would be unable. So that's our DuraCAR program. And so we hired a well-known CRO to perform those studies, and they found, fascinatingly enough, and so far, that the siRNAs had an opposite effect. They increased the NR2F6 levels in the cells. And when I saw those results, I had them do actually a total of 5 siRNAs, and it happened in every case. So that was quite exciting, but so unusual that we elected to hire a different CRO to perform similar studies to see if they get similar results. So if they do confirm them, that would, be pretty interesting.
Okay. For those of us that are not scientists, what does that mean?
So the idea is that we will have cells that are very well designed and primed to suppress the immune system, and those we could use for autoimmune disorders such as type 1 diabetes or osteoarthritis, for example. Or let's say that first CRO's findings are not necessarily valid, although I don't know why they wouldn't be. Then we would continue with our DuraCAR program as originally designed and create cells that are highly active CAR T cells against cancer.
Okay, so the idea is that what we found so far is that we're actually creating a therapy for autoimmunity as opposed to treating cancer.
Yeah, exactly. So, yes, correct.
Okay, and so by treating autoimmunity, that's an extremely underserved marketplace and a very large marketplace. Is that true?
It's remarkable. I mean, it's much larger than the cancer marketplace. I mean, obviously, in either case, it would be great to help patients with autoimmune disorders. It would be great to help patients with cancer, of course. But from a financial perspective, from an unmet medical need, yeah, certainly the autoimmune market is a vast market.
Okay, cool. And looking here, what are the options that the confirmation study confirms the initial findings from our first CRO?
Yeah, so if these findings truly are confirmed, then we would go ahead and want to make these immunosuppressive T cells that, and in vitro, do a series of studies to make sure that they are doing everything we expect them to do, understanding immunology. So we would look for their immunosuppressive signature in vitro in terms of being able to secrete immunosuppressive cytokines and in some small models in vitro. And then once we have that sort of nailed down, we could then move to mouse models of, I think type 1 diabetes and osteoarthritis are probably the two prime mouse models where we could then look for this effect in vivo.
Okay.
And assuming we could have some success there, which, again, theoretically we could, then we could prepare an IND and get prepared for phase 1 human studies.
Now, in the event that the confirmation study does not support what the original CRO found, what is the outcome for us there?
Yeah, so then we would continue with the original plan, which was to create these highly active CAR T cells, DuraCARs, and put them again through an in vitro process where we look at how well they kill cancer cells in vitro to make sure they're doing the right thing, and then go ahead with a series of in vivo experiments in mice to confirm that they do what we think that they're doing in vitro in an animal model.
So at the end of the day, it's really a win-win for us. We either have something that can address autoimmunity or something that can address cancer, and we're looking for the confirmation study to provide the data, which we're expecting any time, to allow us to move things along, one way or the other.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Now, I have gotten a number of emails, and I want to pull this one up because I thought it was very succinct on what the questioning and the concerns were. We recently announced through an 8K and clearing an S1 registration that we have obtained an equity line financing through Coventry. And the first thing that comes up is how many shares are going to be sold, because it's a $10 million equity line. And, right away somebody's looking at that and assumes that we're just going to blast stock into the market to finance everything. We can use up to $10 million, or we don't have to use any of it, depending upon what our situation is. The goal isn't to just sell as many shares as we want. We want to use the equity line carefully as a backstop financing tool. In this situation, we control how many shares we put to Coventry in exchange for cash. Now, there's certain parameters around that, such as 10-day volume, average volume, the price of the stock, that actually impacts how many shares we can put to Coventry. So in this case, you have 10-day average volume, and it's 200% of that number of shares, up to an amount of $250,000 on any given put. And you can do a put once every 2 weeks. But here again, the goal isn't to just flood the market with stock. That's why we did this. We have control over how many shares are put, how many shares are sold, and not in a like with a toxic convertible note, you get a certain amount of money up front, and then the hedge fund can go out there and sell as much stock as they want into the open market. We've registered a specific number of shares, approximately 1.2 million shares, and that's it. So we can't go out and sell 10 billion shares into the market. This is very limited, very controlled by the company, and really the purpose of it is to make sure that something like this confirmation study that gets completed, we're in a position that we can move forward to the next round of studies that we have to do in order to progress to clinical trials. That way, we don't want to be in a situation where we have all this really cool data and not have the cash we need to go on to the next phase. So I think that's the important thing, is we want to be in a position that we can, in fact, move things along. You know, as I mentioned numerous times, I'm not drawing a salary out of Regen to get it to this point. So I have no interest in seeing anything that's deleterious to the company. We do need to raise money to make sure that the company can move on to the next phase of studies, but we don't need to go flood the market with lots of stock. So there's a lot of protection there. Let's see. There's a question, how much cash has the company received from Coventry so far? Well, initially we received about $148,000 that was tied to a note. The note is a straight note, but in the event we default on it, then it can be a convertible note, but not until after 11 months have gone by. So the first payment on the note is not due for 11 months. So that has no impact on the marketplace. And we expect that we will be in a position to pay off that note before it's ever due. The short and long-term plans over the next 3, 6, 12 months receiving capital. Well, right now, for example, if we were to exercise anything with the equity line, you would be looking at being able to put somewhere in the vicinity of, let's say, 8 to 10,000 shares at any one given time. 8 to 10,000 shares, and Coventry gives us a 20% discount to the market. So that puts us in a position of not flooding the market with tons and tons of shares of stock. We're just interested in keeping enough cash flow from the equity line to make sure that we cover the bills and the research. Mainly, our focus is on the research. Let's see, at what point will companies seek to hire a PR firm for more exposure to new investors, uplisting? Well, okay, so I think the question pertains to hiring a PR firm and at what point we do that, and looking to expose a company to new investors, doing an uplisting, and adding management. Those are all things that are still down the road because first of all, we have to meet all the qualifications for any kind of an uplisting, and that will be things like the price of the stock, the amount of cash reserves on the balance sheet. They don't like you to have any kind of convertible debt, which we still have 3 convertible note holders that they've expressed interest, and I've tried to get them into Series A preferred stock to settle their notes, but they're just interested in receiving cash from the company. So it looks like once we get those guys paid off, and there again is another use for the equity line. It's a small amount of money. I don't remember the exact number, but it's somewhere around $500,000. And once they're paid off, we will not have any convertible debt left on the balance sheet. So here again, the equity line is basically a backstop and does not preclude us from finding more favorable financing. Now, Anna, do we have any other questions, or are we? I know this is a short presentation.
Yeah, you're covering them, David. So you're answering them in real time. So you're covering them. So we have about a minute left. If you want to wrap up, any closing remarks you have?
Yeah, I think the good news for us is that with this backstop, we're not sitting here trying to explain to the shareholders how we have really good IP, really good results, and we're going to have to wait to go any further with it because we got to raise some capital. We have the backstop. It's there. So in a situation where something dynamic were to happen, like with this confirmation study completing, we'd be in a position to move forward and not be hamstrung by the need of capital. I really appreciate everybody's loyal support of the company, and we look forward to providing, I hope, a very positive outcome at the next November meeting of the conference.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, David and Harry, for your time and this update. We wish you a successful rest of the month, and yeah, we'll see you very soon.
All right. Appreciate it, Anna.
All right, everyone. Great conference today. In just a minute, you're going to be redirected to the registration page for our next one in November. So stay on so you can reserve your spot early. On behalf of all of us at the Emerging Growth Conference team, we want to thank our presenters, our attendees for making this such a great success. Remember that a complete replay of this conference will be made available on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Emerging Growth Conference. Subscribe there and follow us on Twitter @EmergingGrowthC. We always post new information to Twitter first. I'm Anna Berry, wishing you guys a great rest of your month, and we'll see you in November. Thanks.